What's up, guys? And we back with another video, and today we're doing something a little different. This is like a science video or like a factual video, and the topic is, why do flies die when they see dead flies? I have no idea. This is why I'm here to watch this video. I'm hoping to learn something today, and hopefully you learn something today too. If this is something that you like, or you want to see more of, let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Okay, so here we go. Why flies die, SciShow video. Here we go.
Video. You can get a $100 60-day credit on a new Linode account at linode.com/scishow. Grieving is a complex and difficult process, and none of it is fun. And it might feel like it's knocking years off your life, even if it isn't really. But leave it to nature, because that is totally a thing elsewhere in the animal world. When fruit flies see their dead relatives, they literally go, "Guess I'll die," and keel over. And while that's very what? It could also help us understand depression and aging in humans. So let's jump in.
So yeah, like they're saying, they'll see a dead fly and they'll just go ahead and just die themselves. But yeah, they're talking about like depression and everything like that. So yeah, it's interesting to see like where this goes.
The ability to respond to death isn't just a human trait. Honeybees recognize dead members of their colony and remove them from the hive. Scrub jays will gather around a dead jay and scream. And elephants will touch a fellow elephant's corpse, try to lift it up, and trumpet. But fruit flies? After they see or smell other dead flies, they'll start rapidly aging and sometimes even die themselves. All of these responses require the animal to perceive and recognize death in some way. In a lot of species, this may happen via olfactory signals, aka smell. This could be the absence of pheromones an animal gives off when it's alive, or chemicals produced as the body decays. Other animals seem to take cues from visual signs of death, like black and floppy. Legend has it that this was accidentally demonstrated by jackdaws who swarmed a researcher while he was taking his black swim trunks out of his pocket. In the exact same way, they swarmed dead birds. For fruit flies, it seems like both sight and smell play a role. In 2019, researchers at the University of Michigan used a tea maze to see how live flies react to dead flies. A tea maze isn't what you'd probably picture as a maze. It's more like a chamber with two arms at the top. Once the animals are inside, they can go one way or another, which scientists use to get information about what the animals prefer. The researchers found that when one of the arms had only live flies and the other had live flies plus dead ones, the living flies avoided the side with the dead flies as much as they could, which is also what I would do. But as long as the corpses were a related species of fly and the living flies could see them, they wanted nothing to do with the dead guys over there. Being able to see...
Okay, so yeah, that's normal, right? You know what I'm saying? You look to the left and you see, certain stuff going on. You look to the right and you see certain stuff going on, and the left might look a little more detrimental than the right. So, naturally you go to the right. So that is interesting to see, because I guess what I'm talking about is they were talking about the different animals, and I feel like when it comes to different animals and basically the size of those animals, they have bigger brains, or they're able to calculate things, better than a smaller animal. But then there's also those phenomena in nature where you have like certain birds where they have this small brain, but they're able to mimic any sound, and it's just it's astonishing. But I do wonder, as far as when it comes to insects, is there an insect that's really smart? Just think about it. Think about that fly that you see crawling on the in the corner, and you about to go up and sneak up on it, but it's like he senses you, like he knows you're there, and it's like he just flies off. And it's just like, dang it. So now, he's flying around for the next 5-10 minutes, and then you got to wait till he lands again, and then you got to try again. But it's just I always did wonder, do a fly know it's about to get slapped by a house shoe? Does a fly know it's about to die? And is that why it's taking off? Or is it just something as far as just senses or instinct, and they feel a force getting close to them, and the force is me, and when I get so close, it's like they take off. It's interesting. I do wonder that.
See the dead flies seems to be critical for this, because it didn't happen with blind flies or flies that lived in the dark. And the flies didn't just avoid their dead friends. Living flies exposed to dead flies underwent physiological changes, including less storage of fats that can help them survive without food, and an altered metabolic rate and less carbon dioxide production, which can affect the rate of aging. And when they exposed the flies to dead flies repeatedly throughout their adulthood, the exposed flies only lived about 77% as long as unexposed flies on average. In this case, the flies needed both the visual and olfactory cues. Blind flies and those without the ability to smell didn't show the effect as strongly as flies who could both see and smell. Basically, simply perceiving dead flies was enough to speed up their aging and make them die sooner. This isn't the first study that's shown a relationship between sensory perception and aging, at least in fruit flies and nematodes. See, in these invertebrates, some of the same neurons that are used for smell and taste can also regulate aging and lifespan. And while we know that giving fruit flies less food to eat can make a fruit fly live longer, when flies on a diet just smell odors derived from nutrients, it actually undoes any of those lifespan benefits. And when honeybees detect a pheromone emitted from sisters that are being raised to be the queen one day, they will only live for about 3 to 6 weeks. Once the hive is no longer raising future queens, bees can live for 20 weeks or more. So there does seem to be a connection between sensory perception, physiology, and aging, at least in invertebrates. In fruit flies, serotonin seems to be at the center. Yeah, serotonin, the neurotransmitter famous for the role it plays in your mood. In flies, it appears to be involved in the relationship between lifespan and food perception. Flies that lack receptors for serotonin can actually live longer when food is in short supply. But what's driving the connection between flies' senses and their lifespans has been a mystery. The same group from the University of Michigan took on that question. They found a small group of neurons with serotonin receptors that appear to be required for the drop dead when you see a dead fly thing. These neurons were located in the ellipsoid body, an area of the fly brain that helps coordinate sensory information and control movement. These neurons were active after the flies had been exposed to dead flies for 2 days. When those neurons were shut off, fly lifespans were totally unaffected by the dead. In fact, the same thing happened if just the serotonin receptors were shut off, even if the rest of those neurons were working properly. The other critical part of the process was a link to signaling proteins that also seem to be involved in depression. So the researchers speculate that seeing dead flies may send the living flies into what they call a depression-like state, which ends up shortening their lifespan.
Okay, and I do understand as far as animals. If you think about, I'm thinking about basically the aquarium type animals, or animal that you would put in an aquarium. The sharks, the whales, the just like the bigger animals that are used to they're literally open water animals, that's all they do is swim. They swim all day. When you put them in a cage or in an aquarium, they then start getting a little depressed, because you can only imagine if you're always used to just swimming and there's no problems, and then all of a sudden you're swimming and you're hitting this clear see-through wall, and it's see-through and it looked like you go through it, but for some reason you can't go through it. I'm pretty sure as a whale or as a shark or whatever it might be, I might start getting depressed. And when animals do get depressed, I have seen in the past that they start to they die fast. Their way of life, their quality of life diminishes quickly, and it's because they are depressed, or they're in a certain situation to where they're not used to, it's stressful, they're constantly stressed. And that's also something we can relate to humans, when we're doing something and it becomes stressful, and it is stressful, and then just doing that for a long time, it can really take a toll on us. And I can understand a fly being in a room with I guess other dead flies, and just the anxiety building up, and then it's they start deteriorating fast too. And it's crazy how that happens, or how that works. It really is.
can. Importantly, this isn't really depression in the way humans experience it, with feeling sad and disinterested in things. They're just looking at the fly's neurons when they talk about depression, not their behavior or their feelings. After all, they don't make couches small enough for flies to go to therapy, although that would be very cute. And obviously the whole dying simply when you see dead people thing doesn't happen in humans either, or funeral directors would get hazard pay. So these studies aren't directly relevant to people, but they could potentially tell us something
Not the funeral directors getting hazard pay.
about how sensory experiences affect physiology, and it does raise some questions about the relationship between depressive symptoms, serotonin, and aging. It's still early in the research process for that, but who knows when it could lead to a breakthrough. After all, everyone knows that time flies. And if you're always flying from place to place, this video's sponsor, Linode, could help you out. Linode is a cloud computing company from Akamai that gives you a way to stream content, host websites and apps, and store your data online. Go to linode.com/scishow for a $100 60-day credit on a new Linode account. Thank you to Linode for supporting this SciShow video.
Thanks, Linode, for supporting the why flies die when they see other dead flies. Okay, yeah, that's definitely was interesting. That's definitely some science, like evolutionary, like type information there. But yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. Like flies might see other dead flies and they'll start dying themselves. It's just something that's happening within their genealogy or within their genetic makeup, and like it's ways we can relate to it. If you think about like just an older couple and like one loses his spouse, and then like maybe it's not too long after that spouse actually passes away too, because like they're without that person that they've been with for years and years and years, and like now it's just different and stressful, and like yeah, like that may take a toll and like cause another person's health to deteriorate. And it's very much interesting. But yeah, that just was like a little special one I wanted to do, just something different outside of what I usually do. If you do like this video, let me know. I'll do more like it. Comment down below if you want me to do something specific that you have in mind. I'm open to all. And with that, thank you guys for tuning in today, and I will see you all later. Peace.